Hello, everybody. My name is Joerg Hoffmann. I'm the head of investor relations at Wacker Chemie AG. I'd like to give you a short introduction into Wacker Chemie, about what it is that we do, where we are heading, and what our strategies are. So let's begin with this. What you see here on the front page is a semiconductor device. And why did we choose that? It is because Wacker is essential in these technologies. So the fact that you're actually able to see me has a lot to do with the fact that we produce most of the materials on which this whole technology is based. But let's get started. Wacker is a company that in 2023 achieved sales of over 6 billion euros. We have over 16,000 employees globally with 4 business segments. Our largest segment is the silicone segment. We are number 2 in silicones, right after Dow. Strong presence in Europe and in Asia, and a smaller presence in the US. Our second largest business is our Polymers division, which is a business that produces water-based binders, which are used in glues, in adhesives and paints, but also in construction additives. The Polysilicon business services both the semiconductor and the solar industries, and we are by far the largest supplier of semiconductor polysilicon, the stuff that makes all these things going. We have a small Biosolutions business, which is growing, and I'll address that in a moment. Let's move on. Here's an overview of the segments and of our products. You see it to the left, the silicones business covering essentially all larger markets. The silicones business is essentially in many ways diversified. It's diversified across regions, across industries, across applications. That gives us swings with the global economy, but we are essentially in all walks of life. Hard to tie this to a single industry. The major distinction in silicones is whether we're talking about specialties or about commodities. Modus operandi is that you have upstream facilities, which you tend to run at full utilization rates, and then you try to convert as much as possible from this material into specialties, which typically earn very good margins. What is a specialty? A specialty for us is material where we are servicing a customer designated specification, where we have very limited competition, and where the key part of the selling process is application development and application service. And standards, on the other hand, it's all about price and meeting an industry specification. Polymers services 2 large market categories: the construction market, where our products are additives for advanced concrete mixes, for stuccos, for screeds, self-leveling compounds, floors, and so forth. And they're widely used in external insulation and finishing systems for buildings. The other part of the business is water-based binders for the paints business. Paint that's ultimately is an adhesive that clings pigments to the wall, and food packaging and pharmaceutical packaging and the likes. Biosolutions consists of 3 subsegments. It's the biopharma business, which is growing very strongly, where Wacker has a complete toolbox for all the new advanced medicines that are coming to market over the next years. We have our own self-developed bioingredients, largely nutraceuticals. And we have a legacy life science business, which is essentially ketones and other acetic acid derivatives. Last not least, the polysilicon business, with a growing semiconductor market business and a declining solar business. In both of these businesses, we are by far the quality leader. We define the cutting edge of technology. So let's look at how raw material streams. So what are the key raw materials that we need? The silicones and the polysilicon business are essentially joined at the hip. They share certain raw materials and they share infrastructure, which is why we co-locate those facilities. A joint product, a waste product for polysilicon, and a valuable input into silicones that is actually a differentiator for our silicones, the so-called fumed silica. Most of our competitors in silicones have largely liquid silicones in their portfolio. We have more solid silicones in their portfolio, and the access to fumed silica, high quality fumed silica, is a key factor in this differentiator in the competition. Vinyl acetate monomer is the key product that we use for polymers. Vinyl acetate monomer is essentially a derivative of acetic acid combined with ethylene, which gets you to vinyl acetate monomer. is an intermediate, which is what we buy in Asia and the US. In Europe, we make a vinyl acetate monomer ourselves, transfer it then together with ethylene into vinyl acetate ethylene. This is a high performance glue adhesive and uses water as a solvent. The key to success here is that the vinyl acetate ethylene has an integrated plasticizer in it, so you can tell the difference by when a paint dries, for instance. You see no cracks with this paint because you have the internal elasticity of the binder that compensates for those cracks. And last, the bioingredients business. I know it looks kind of out of place, but it is all based on self-developed technologies. So Wacker has been active in biotechnologies since the mid-1980s, and we developed a lot of the IP ourselves, and this is us putting this. Let's have an overview into our markets. You can see here that smart construction is an important part of the market. Renewable energies get serviced by both the silicones business and polysilicon. Silicones, for instance, in blades for wind turbines, where we provide the binders, and polysilicon, where we provide polysilicon for the solar application. Energy and electronics, leading materials and silicones that treat chips are used in the chip manufacturing process, and so forth. A large part of this is also chemical industries, which means that our materials are used as processing aids for other industries. So that's an overview of who is Wacker Chemie. Just sum it up, a company with leading market shares in all its applications, with comparatively high returns on capital employed compared to our peers, and lots of internal organic growth optionalities. We do not need to rely on M&A for growth. We do growth ourselves. And there's more to come. Let's start with silicone. So as in silicones, we are an integrated specialty supplier for the industry. We project the know-how that we have here for a global network of technical centers around the globe, which means our customers get access to specialists in their respective fields, can provide them with services. These centers network with each other, and as a result, we can use those as multipliers and transfer the know-how into even broader ranges of application. What are specialties? Specialties range from glues and satellites to smart construction applications, e-mobility. And the picture that you see here is screens on wearables. Silicones, probably a material that you have used already today. We were in your shampoo. We were in clothing. We were probably in your toothpaste. We were probably under the lid yogurt. Silicones are in all kinds of places. What you see here in terms of financial performance essentially reflects the fact that with the broad diversification of this business, it follows global GDP plus some, but it follows global GDP. And as we know, the industry went through a boom and bust cycle, and we're still not out of the troughs today. Here's an overview of the capabilities of silicones and where they can go. The key thing about silicones is the combination of a silicon and an oxygen molecule, which is a very strong one that provides the backbone to add all kinds of other capabilities. And as a result, silicones can occupy different ends of a spectrum of spout properties. They can be water attracting, like you would like to have in a towel. And towels are typically treated with silicones to achieve this. But they can also be water repelling, like with your Sympatex clothing when you go mountaineering or hiking. Silicones can be electricity conductive, but they can also be used as insulators. They can be a liquid, a form stable, or a resin material. When you see on the right-hand side those properties, and you can almost combine those properties at will, which makes silicones incredibly versatile. On top of that, silicones can withstand very high temperatures. The glass transition temperature of silicones is well over 300 degrees centigrade. That allows silicones to attack all other polymers out there and typically win on the combination of value and properties that other polymers, but silicones tend to be more expensive than the alternative. Interesting. There's not really a good way to substitute silicone. Here you see an overview of silicones. You see the largest part of the market is us selling into other chemical industries where it supports processing of other materials, polyurethane, for instance, extraction of polyurethane, or where used as an additive to add performance to other materials. The combination of those markets shifts over time as we develop more specialties to address these markets. The construction and coatings markets are the markets that are most susceptible to an exposure to standard. Polymers are used in paints because of their formidable covering properties, and already addressed in the internal elasticity of the material. Silicones are also used in packaging materials. A very huge strength. I mean, if you buy something from Amazon these days, it probably comes in a paper bag, and that paper bag is probably glue of our material. This business shows very stable margins, breathes with its raw materials. We are a world market leader in this with much higher capacities than any of our competitors. Here's an overview of the markets that we address. You see the consumer market is slightly bigger than the construction market. You see us in adhesives, in coatings and paints, but also in carpets. And so this is gluing the rubber compound that is the bottom of the carpet, and also in resin. And on the right-hand side, you see us with all kinds of advanced construction technologies, wall systems, flooring systems, where you need tiles, for instance, that compensate for floor heating, and where you have glues that work, or adhesives that work with much larger, heavier tiles, like are being used in homes today, as we've moved from the small tiles that we used in the 70s to upgrading. It's also waterproofing membranes, and a newer application for this in composite cements. So you find us in concrete as well. Addressing it, silicones are actually the fastest growing. Polymers are actually or VAE is actually the fastest growing binder application in construction. And to see here the key drivers of this. Let's move on to Biosolutions. We have a fast growing biotechnology business in there, all spurned by a self-developed toolbox for provide the tools and the right kits for advanced medicine. So biologics-based medicine, where we're going to see more and more of. We are competitively well positioned with technologies that address smaller lot sizes. This is important as medicine increasingly moves to individualize its treatments to specific customers. We see this emerging now in oncology. This is a broader trend that over the next years will prevail, where you replace broad-based pharmaceutical compounds to more individualized compounds that are essentially tailored to the customer, to the patient. Silicones, our Biosolutions business consists of three different parts of business: a fast-growing biopharma business, a bioingredients business where we have our own nutraceuticals, and a life science business, which is a legacy business. An interesting piece of information here. We provide food-grade polyvinyls for gum base, and we have about 2/3 of the global market. On to polysilicon. We're the quality leader in polysilicon globally. We have a number one position in semi with about 50% of the market. So the likelihood that you're using our material is pretty high. And we provide material for solar, for the high-end applications, so the highest efficiency applications, most power output per square area. This is a business that is seeing significant capacity additions from China, and focusing on certain regional markets, we can achieve a regional differentiation in price. Provide about half of the silicon globally that goes into all these semiconductor trends, and it's fair to assume that in the leading, or as you can see, 300mm expanding technologies, we have a higher market share than in the other. Solar continues to be an important part of our portfolio. Solar installations are growing significantly. Next year, we expect over 600 gigawatts of installations already, which would get us over time to the targets of the Paris Climate Agreement. Solar is the lowest cost and fastest scalable source of power. Sustainability is a key driver for our business. In the course of this presentation, you've heard me mention frequently CO2, the low CO2 backpack, but also water-based paints and so forth. And this runs through the veins of this company. This company was built about 100 years ago based on hydroelectric power plant in Burghausen in southeastern Bavaria, and has now become an international competitor with world-class integrated Verbund sites in the US, in Europe, in China, and to leadership in CO2. That is being recognized by the agencies. Just got a new upgrade from EcoVadis So we are clearly considered by the analysts for the sustainability analysts as a leader in sustainability. And it is a differentiator in our business. So how does this work? We have a value up where we're enabling products, creating new products that have come with a lower CO2 backpack, and where we improve our own footprint. This is the footprint down. So the combination of the two is what drives the sustainability profile of a business. Today, well over 2/3 of our product portfolio already address sustainability issues for our customers and are being sold and bought for that precise. You see, we are well achieving our zero targets, which have been certified by SBTi, one of the few companies globally who have that level of certification. Back to reduce our CO2 position by about 50%. We are already half the way to that target. So let's move on to our targets. Where do we want to be in 2030? See, here is our 2030 targets. We're striving for sales of over 2 billion euros, driven by a focus on value over volume. So what you go see us is expanding our portfolios and managing our portfolios to increase the value contribution from these portfolios. But you will also see us investing less in upstream facilities where the capital intensity is high and the value provided is rather low. You see that we have, if you look into the back end of our fact book, which I would suggest taking a look at, the fact book is available on our webpage, and it covers all major aspects of Wacker Chemie. It's a very good resource. You'll find there that we have historically achieved very frequently returns on capital employed well over twice the cost of capital. And we intend to go there again. It needs some help from the economy, but we're well on that. This implies raising our margins over 20%. We've done that time and again, and pretty much everything is already there in place to get there. This concludes my presentation, my short introduction into the complicated and exciting world of Wacker Chemie. I highly recommend having a look at the publications that you see there in the bottom right-hand corner. Our customer magazine is full of application examples. The fact book is a very good resource and essentially constitutes an initiation study without numbers. You get everything that's important there in our annual report as well. So with that, here are our contact details. Just Scott anytime. We're happy to speak to you. Welcome to Wacker, which is a fascinating place.
Disclaimer. As described in the legal section on our website, seat11a.com, this publication is for informational purposes only. This means it is not intended to provide you with any investment advice. Any opinion or recommendation expressed by the companies is neither given nor supported by us and should not be considered investment advice from our side. Also, remember that any opinion or recommendation expressed is subject to change without further notice. The content is obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but we do not guarantee its accuracy, completeness, or timeliness. Seat11a.com and its employees disclaim all liability for any loss that may arise in any form from any use of the information in the video, audio, and on our website. We neither express any opinion on the future value of any security or other investment vehicle, nor recommend any investment based on the information provided. Please consider the publications and our website as a platform for companies to present themselves. You need to seek financial advice from an expert regarding the accuracy and appropriateness of the material presented or recommended by the companies in the publication. As we are just considered a publisher, we may hold and trade securities in the presenting company, whether it is a listed or private company. By consuming our content, you agree to these terms and the terms in our legal section on our website.